Feeling hopeless about the job market? Stay tuned. In this episode, we're going to teach you how to stay positive in this low hire, low fire environment. So, what are you seeing in this environment?
I think it's definitely hard to stay inspired and hopeful in this very challenging market today.
It's the people perceiving, I think it was like 43%. It was in one article, chance of getting a job. I mean, that's the lowest reading since 2013.
Yeah, I mean, it's really, you see different reports every day. People are getting hired, they're not getting hired, they're coming, they're going. There's kind of very mixed signals out there about what's actually happening. And
Uh-huh.
it's really hard to stay positive and motivated when there's so much conflicting information, not to mention you network, you kind of do all of the quote unquote right things, and you're still ghosted.
Right. So what are some of the things you can do? I mean, one of the things is that you have to realize that it's not just you. And I know that doesn't really help when you're the one when you're out of work, but the reality is it's more of a macro situation and not necessarily anything that you did or really your fault.
Right. And like I said, I think it's easier said in practice than in reality because, okay,
Probably not
it's
for people
been
who still don't have a job, but
right.
it doesn't, so in that sense, but I think it just changes your perspective a little bit that it's a macro situation and not necessarily if you did something different, it may not really have had any different effect.
So, yeah. So, I mean, and when people have expenses and bills to pay, you have to stay positive because you have to keep the wheels turning to network and keep looking for your next role and things like that. But
But at some point though, you have to then another tip would be to maybe look at what industry you're in, what's the trajectory of that industry. Maybe going back full time in that industry really isn't the right idea. Maybe you look at consulting, maybe you look at a different business, something more gig related. I mean, just something different.
yeah, I think you have to also be open to kind of contract work as well.
Uh-huh.
There seems to be a lot of contract work right now. So you should be open and aware of that as well. But Christine, what are some things you can do, um, as you're looking for your next full-time direct hire, if that's preferred situation?
Well, I don't think that the just going and just just randomly applying to things, I think then you're just getting rejection after rejection after rejection. I think I would definitely be more targeted in what I'm applying for and making sure that my resume and LinkedIn and my whole personal brand is supporting that and showing that am a leader in that field, I think is one thing that people can do. I just applying to anything and everything, I don't think helps.
Anything and everything, absolutely not. But what about if it's a role that could be a little bit industry agnostic? Of course, to various degrees, right? Not everything is going to fit everywhere. But if it's a role that you could take skills and put them in industry A, B, and C,
Definitely.
having kind of a generic but very clean and professional presence via LinkedIn and your resume, I think is a tactic that should be implemented.
It's important. And yes, definitely, if it's something in the realm of what you've done, I would definitely apply to it. But if it's something really far fetched, I just would not do that.
You wouldn't apply. So, Christine, what about people doing, contract work? Maybe they're starting their own business. Maybe they're doing some volunteering. Maybe they're, working at, their kid's school in some kind of business capacity, there. What kind of your take in terms of staying, sharp and current as you're looking?
I think you have to because we don't really know how long this environment is going to last. So you can't just sit on your hands and say, oh, well, I'll deal with this in 3 months or I'll deal with this in 6 months. So really upskill, learn new skills. Like you said, volunteer, maybe think about starting your own business. Just do something that you're moving ahead because otherwise you're stuck and you're kind of moving backwards. It's not healthy.
I also think then in the sense of a resume, let's say you have a year or more in between roles. And then it's okay, well, I have this year plus gap. What did he
Mhm.
do?
Right. I
You can't
mean,
really speak
right.
to it.
Right. Have the
Um,
story.
I
Have
have
the
the story.
story of what you've done. And we've talked about this, numerous times on this channel. Just have the story. What's your story? What's your brand?
And I think you have to find a reason to want to stay motivated. I think if it's a financial fear, if it's a career progression fear, if it's whatever the case may be, you
Uh-huh.
have to find something that kind of lights your fire every day to do something that's
To get it.
relevant to your role in your job, in your industry, whatever that may be.
Yeah, I agree. Stay positive, network, and a job will come.
And I also think you have to sort of, watch the headlines with a certain degree of finesse.
Well, A headline is headline, but you only need one offer, and those are just very general, and that doesn't necessarily maybe apply to you specifically. So it's a background, but that doesn't mean you're not. Even though that there's a low hire, low fire, doesn't mean you're not going to get hired. People are still getting hired.
It's just taking a long time. Then you have
It's
to
just
really
taking
work it.
it's taking a long time. Employers want to make sure that all skills align, and the hiring process is definitely longer.
Yeah. So, like Christine said, stay positive, keep your documents online, current, up to date. Try and stay active however you can, and something will come along.